Well, it's a big deal coming in across the jewelry sector where we have seen Titan now taking over the remaining stake of around 27.18% in CaratLane. Remember, they started buying in 2016, and with the latest takeover at 4,600 crores, it makes it a 2 billion valuation. So this is one of the records being set really when you look at the D2C as a transfer as well. Joining us then to talk about all of this is Mithun Sacheti, who is co-founder, CEO at CaratLane. Mithun, hi, congratulations. It's a huge number. And what do you make of the number to begin with?
It's bittersweet, Manisha. If you give me an option, I always felt I had that money because it was invested in a company and the company was a subsidiary of Titan. So it's not like I didn't feel I have that money. It's just that the money became visible to everybody else now. And what I lost is obviously the ability to run that business. So it's bittersweet. I have access to a lot more. I can do many more things. But the thing that I built with a lot of love and care is something that I mean, at least I won't be a part of it from as a builder, but I'll be a part of it as a consumer all my life.
So, Mithun, forever, when you talk about jewelry, it always has been a touch and feel. People like to wear it and then buy it. You introduced an idea of online, on internet, e-commerce that is, with a sector which is high priced and is considered wealth. As I said, a touch and feel plays a big role here. So how does the idea of CaratLane really come across?
I think the category expertise is the number one piece in any D2C business. If you don't in a discerning world, if you don't make great merchandise and if you don't invest well behind it, I don't think you can build a business. Many people think merchandising and product as not as critical in the business, but I think it's extremely critical. So I have no doubt that my qualification in that area certainly helped the business, and I drive that even till today. It's not an interchangeable part of your business, right? Many other functions in your business are interchangeable with people from other aspects of or other companies, but this part of it really is not. I think for me, that is a very, very important part of the business of what I learned from my family and came forward with.
How do you also look at Make in India as a push, because a lot of companies, a lot of PLIs have been introduced into that one. Do you see that as another sector which is flourishing and will have a lot of upmoves?
I'm a huge fan of that. I think, and with all the PLI schemes going on right now, I think we'd be foolish to not do that. The challenge is that oftentimes entrepreneurs take a 6-month view of manufacturing. And that's not the way to do it. You got to take a 3, 4, 5-year view of manufacturing and then start with that. Provided, of course, you're capitalized like that. If you're not, then you have no choice. But Make in India is I think, right from the day I saw that the lion and the logo till, setting up our own factories and doing that. And I look at Lenskart, they built their own factories across as well. I think these are ways that differentiate your business. As Bhaskar Bhatt says beautifully, manufacturing is not the back end of your business, the backbone of your business. So I'm a huge fan of it.
Would you say that since that you started CaratLane, the sector clearly has grown by leaps and bounds? I mean, there is easy jewelry, there is fusion jewelry, lightweight. We've seen diamonds, emeralds, rubies make a comeback. And then there's been an introduction of lab-grown diamonds also.
So, let's start about the journey. Avnish, who is been with me all throughout from day one, who now takes over as the CEO of the business from me, has been stellar, and he sort of helped build this across. Srinivasa Gopalan, who was the first person to write a check and my co-founder in many ways in the business, and not work in the business, but certainly was a guiding force. And more than the business, to me, he was a personal guide, was very, very helpful. Guru came along later and built the tech stack for the business and continues to contribute towards that. A little more invisible because that's how tech is. Best tech is always magical. You never know how it gets created. So all of us have built this together. We've spoken so much about this business, and this category didn't exist. This sector of this way of doing business as D2C didn't exist. This Omni didn't exist. So we've sort of gone through this journey where all of these three things have been discovered by us in the interest of both the business and the consumer, and marrying both of that, we sort of built it out. We started as lone wolves. We were funding it, very small amount of capital. The family had to be convinced, and with 75 lakhs and 4 years of time I sought from the family to sort of build this out. That's where I started out. Luckily, within those 4 years, we got a venture capitalist, Tiger Global came by. 2016, Titan and us sort of got together because we realized the model that we had discovered, which is a long stay of this model, is better solved with them than solved with a VC. So we moved to that and we sort of built this out. Every 4 years in each of those phases, we sort of grew 10x, but it's the last 10x that got most visible to the world. Many different people played big roles in it, in the team and across, and mentors for us as well also. But I think it's just been a very fruitful journey, a journey full of change because we kept adapting to the situation, how it was. Many changes that kept happening towards us. People in CaratLane are extremely resilient, and I have no doubt that under his leadership and Avnish's leadership, they will adapt to this change of me going away as well, and they'll come out stronger from that also.
Okay, coming back to CaratLane, I mean, are you done with jewelry and commodity as a sector? What is the way forward? I mean, you have the monies in hand now. What are you looking at? Is it going to be yet another touch and feel commodity sector, or is it going to be one of the technology-driven markets and startups that you see nowadays?
Yeah. No, I think the sector is in for a bull run from this point on. Number of people who consume jewelry is something very rarely is it spoken about in, or consume diamond jewelry is very rarely spoken about in all the reports. I read pretty much every report that comes from any analyst across. They look at it from they don't do a 10-year view on the sector. And my 10-year view on the sector is that it's a great time to be in the jewelry industry. You have more options coming for consumers with lab-grown diamonds also on the anvil. So more people will find it affordable, and that will possibly reset the margin structure of the business as well also towards the higher side. The third piece that I want to tell you about is that, you look at India and jewelry, and there are two things that happen. We act as people who sort of deliver actions. We're doing activities, and that's what cutting, polishing, all of this is there. They don't create a lot of value, but they create enough profit for those companies. Finally, the time has come, and I've seen two recent IPOs. Both have done reasonably well. Kalyan sits at 3x, Senco sits at some growth as well. Titan's always been very good and such a multi-bagger for everybody that people are now seeing value creation even in the stock market from the jewelry sector. So I have no doubt that all forces are now, all of these are like tailwinds for the category. And it will be a great 10-year run for this category.
So while you did understand the idea of internet and, as you said, the online, the e-commerce, all of that seems to be doing quite well. But then tech as a sector also seems to be emerging quite sharply, strongly. AI has been making inroads. We understand that a lot of companies are now going on to blockchain as well for that big transparency that the world now requires.
We tend to react very fast to these things and say, and somehow in our life, in our world, we love this David versus Goliath situations. We love to say that when this will happen, this will die. And how people spoke about Google when Gen AI came by. And now all of a sudden people are saying Gen AI needs this much amount of cash and, all this will happen because not enough people are paying and taking a subscription as well also. That will evolve also. And Google will evolve as well also. And I think the consumers are going to see what's the best option for them and sort of keep working with that part. I think the narrative of David versus Goliath is where the problem lies. Tech is here to essentially keep improving our lives at all times. If it doesn't do that, no one's going to consume it. I don't see any reason why we should be scared or we should not embrace. And we'll embrace when it makes a lot of sense to all of us. We don't embrace a lot of this right now at CaratLane, but we keep our eyes open for all of this every single day because some of this is just great to look at. Some of this is just sexy to have, but the reality is that it's not applicable at this point in business. When it does become, we'll deal with it. Augmented reality was such a huge thing 5 years back, and all of a sudden hardly anybody's talking about it, but it will make a comeback. Noise is always greater than substance. That's what consensus also teaches us. And I don't believe that is any different in tech.
Final question then, Mithun. Is there any advice, any guidance that you would want to give upcoming startups and entrepreneurs?
I don't know. I'm not one to give advice, but I can share my experience and I'll follow Gestalt doing that. That I think the real way is keep looking at the consumer, keep talking to them and trying to figure out how can you do it better for them? How can you get that one extra consumer tomorrow over what you got yesterday? Because in that sits the power of building a great business.
Well, that is very well said. Mithun, thank you so much for joining us today at Moneycontrol. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
How do world leaders view India?
I've long believed that the relationship between the United States and India is will be one of the defining relationships of the 21st century.
The bright spot of the global economy.
The growth rate for India, which is 6.8 in 2022. Let's not forget, this is one of the bright spots in the global economy right now, such a high growth rate.
The potential of India is enormous, and you have now a reformer, a radical reformer, who has the ability to transform it.
On the verge of a big transformation.
इस अमृत काल में हमारे संकल्पों की सिद्धि हमें आजादी के 100 वर्ष तक ले जाएगी.
A magnet for investment.
I'm actually incredibly excited about the future of India. I think India has more promise than any large country in the world.
The world is bullish on India. Moneycontrol is bullish on India. Join the campaign. Tweet to us with hashtag MC Bullish on India.